this is the help video for Access Chapter 5. We're starting at step number 23 in our PrepareCase. So, all right, so on step 3, we're going to talk about calculations. Traditionally, calculations are created in queries per normalization rules, right? So really, it's been a very recent development in Access that the calculated field type in a table. But it was added for calculations that will be used in almost every object, and when the calculation won't change over time, you can now put a data type of calculation in a table. And so we're going to open the table employee in design view. And we're going to we are going to make a new field that's going to be called name tag. So we're going to call this name tag tab. The data type is going to be calculated. So I did a CA, and then it brought me the expression builder up. So you can use the expression builder or you can zoom. I'm just going to type what I want the calculation to be. So I'm going to take first name, first name. Sorry, let me start over. Let me do it this way. So I'm going to use these fields and concatenate how the name tag is going to be printed off. So I'm going to double click on first name, and then the concatenation symbol is the and. Remember, that's like a glue that holds two things together. I'm going to glue a space. So I did quote, space bar, quote, and so that's going to do first name space. I need another concatenation symbol to glue that on the other side of the space, and I'm going to pick last name. So I'm taking first name, joining it with a space, taking that space and joining it with last name. And that will actually be stored in there in the table. So I'm going to go ahead and do OK. And we're going to say used for printing name tags tab. So that is a calculated field. Now, I'm not sure I agree that that's something that needs to be in the table, but whatever. I would probably still put it in a query that I use to print. But all right, switch to datasheet view and enter the following record to test the change. So we're going to do Ken, COLON, 6772508252029, assistant golf professional, and then look, the name tag already is calculated once I put in that information. So we're good there. All right, so let's go back to design view, and we're going to do another new field, and this data type is a yes no. And so you would use a yes no when it's that yes no, true false, and it presents as a checked or unchecked. So we're going to add a new field called orientation, and the data type is going to be yes no. And we're going to say, is new hire orientation complete? That's the question that this is going to answer. So if I save it and I come over here, look, I now have a new field that has a checkbox. An unchecked box represents no. The minute I put a check in there, it represents yes. So we're done with 25. And now we're going to go back where I was, and we're going to find John. And these are the ones that should have checks. Check boxes for the following employees. So John Schilling, Robert Lang, Ginger, Juan, Samuel, excuse me, Paul, Alita, nope, Lily, John, Carlos, Ken, and then I'm done. So I still have a pencil here, so I need to go off of that one, and then we can close out of employee. So that's pretty cool. So you could build on that, right, and produce a report that shows everybody doesn't have a check mark in orientation, right? That would be very useful. All right, an auto number data type creates a surrogate key, a short numeric key that never changes, which can be incremented or randomized. The auto number automatically assigns the number as new records are added. Once an auto number is used, it will never be assigned again, even if the original record is deleted. ID numbers with the auto number data type are never reused, and I think we talked about that before. It's like if you remove member 5, nobody will ever be member 5 again. Okay, so we're going to create a new table this time that is that will be used to track when members have paid their annual dues. We're going to add the following information to create the table. So create table in design view, and we're just going to put payment ID tab, auto number tab, surrogate key for each payment, primary key tab, payment date time, payment date, oops, not capital, and then amount paid, currency, payment, amount, not a capital one. Okay, so let's go back. Field properties. So let's look at this first one. So this is the primary key. So I have to come up here while I'm sitting on payment ID, click on the primary key. Cool. Payment date, short date format. So I come down here on payment date, click and do short date, and that's it. All right, continue creating. So we did 27. Continue creating the new table by adding a new lookup field named member ID. Member ID. And it's going to be a number. It's going to be a number. But we're going to come back here and we're going to do lookup wizard. And uses member ID, last name, and first name from table member. So I'm going to look up the field from table member. And I want member ID, last name, first name. Next. Sort by last name, first name, hide, enable data integrity, restrict, delete, finish. Yes. And we're going to save this as TBL payment. And then we're going to come over here and say this is the member who made the payment. Save it again. Flip over. So now we have no records in there. So let's go ahead and look at step number 29. So in here, we're going to put the payment date. Notice there's no input mask, so I have to type all that stuff myself. And then the member ID, I'm going to click this and find Duke, right? So whatever that underlying member ID is, I don't really care because I just picked it by the name. And I'm doing that with my keys. So I just typed RI and it got to risotto. risotto, and I'm done. So now it says delete the record where payment ID is 1. So I'm going to right click and delete. I'm going to delete one record and then add another one. 3, 5, 20, 21, 500, and then PO, found it. Notice it went to 3. 1 is gone forever. We're not going to use 1. All right, so 29 is done. So let's see, random numbers, table payment. Okay, so let's do this one. So random numbers can be either positive or negative, and you can make them randomized instead of counting like we're doing 1, 2, 3. Most times you just do the 1, 2, 3, but you can do random numbers. So we're going to switch to design view and then modify the new value property. So new value property. Okay, so I am in the data sheet, the design view for payment. And we need to go up to this primary key, which is the auto number, right? Because right now it just counts 1, 2, 3. But while I'm on here, and if I look down here, do you see this new value? We can change that from incremental to random. Yes. Okay, so we're going to switch it to datasheet, save it. And then those don't change, but watch what happens when I go to put in these next ones. Look at that number, right? Pretty wild. And your numbers might be different than mine because it's randomized. So you have no way of knowing. Okay, so we're gonna be done with that. I'm gonna stop this movie at step 31, and I think one more movie will do it for us. All right, thank you.